Hello, everyone. Welcome. And our guest today is our 2016 Swiss Sportswoman of the Year, sponsored by Orium, and it's Katie Archibald. Welcome, Katie.
Hi.
2016, a few years ago now, but what are your memories of 2016?
Yeah, it does. It feels longer than the 3.5 years that it is, almost four. But they're all fond memories. I mean, 2016 was a very big year. It was Olympic year, um, the the year that I won this award. So it's nice to have those memories attached to it. But there's been lots gone on since, and yeah, I mean, lockdown isn't the only thing. But like I say, it does feel a long way away.
2016 was a bit of a turning point, do you think, in your cycling career?
Yeah, I would certainly mark it as a springboard, I'd say. So won the Olympics in 2016 with Great Britain in the team pursuit. And since then, so many doors have opened and so many, I guess, platforms have presented themselves. So we were, I guess, eligible for two events at the Rio Olympics, the team pursuit and the omnium. Since then, the UCI and the IOC have introduced a third event for us, the Madison. I became world champion in that event in 2018, and that's really been the biggest focus of my drive towards Tokyo, has been about defending that team pursuit title from 2016 and hopefully contesting this new title. It's an event that's actually returning for the men's program, so it's not a new event. It's been around for over 100 years. We've been contesting it at Europeans and World Championships and so on, but now we have the privilege of taking it to an Olympic Games.
What about the Olympic Games then? No Tokyo this year. What kind of impact does and did that have on you?
Yeah, no, no games. It's a strange one because it's something that I and every other athlete really mold your existence around this big target, this thing that comes once every 4 years. This, in a way, this huge part of our identities and what we uh, commit ourselves to. And it sounds simple to shift everything 12 months, and I suppose that's maybe what's painful about it, is that it is quite simple, and it almost makes you feel silly about how much you've put towards this one, in some ways, insular goal. But contrasting that to all of the other um, all of the other hurdles that people are overcoming through the pandemic, it's really a paper cut in comparison to a lot of people's trials. So it's something to readjust to, and in a way to get on with.
And it's going to mean a very, very busy next few years for you. Things are going to come in quite quick succession.
Yeah, so now that we have the 21 Olympics, that'll roll through to the next year being a 22 Commonwealth Games at home in Birmingham. And then the big ones, 2023, will be a Home World Championships in Glasgow. So in 2023, it's actually 13 different cycling disciplines are having their World Championships held in our hometown. So the next, shouldn't plan your life away, but the next 3 years really are some big summers on the horizon.
How are you coping with lockdown in terms of your training?
Yeah, I mean, the National Cycling Centre in Manchester is halfway operational just now, but it's not a venue that my team's entering. We're not seeing the payoff of the training that we could get when you have to. Yeah, just it's quite tricky to keep 2 meters apart, and still have a useful training session, if that makes sense, because it's an indoor venue. There's lots of risks. So yeah, I've been training out in the sunshine. I've got a little home gym set up, and been really fortunate that I've been able to function really well.
Are you missing your teammates?
I am missing my teammates. I'm missing not just the company, but the drive, the kind of training sessions that someone else can pull out of you that you can't always pull out of yourself, and the kind of shared preparation, shared goals. It really it makes a big difference, and it's something that I'm craving a return to for sure.
And one good thing about lockdown, I suppose, is that lots more people are out there on their bikes, aren't they? And that's got to be a good thing.
That is a wonderful thing, yeah. I think especially if we look at cycling and all that it encompasses beyond elite sport, all of the, I guess, the opportunities that it'll present for active travel as well, if this rise is taken seriously and if the infrastructure follows. If we do look at the impact on elite sport, I think that's valid also. So you see a big dip in sports participation in teenage girls. So once you get to about 13, 14, in a lot of sports, girls just drop out. I would say I kind of fell into that. I was a swimmer when I was younger. I stepped away from competitive sport like that, but I always kept riding my bike. The bike was what took me to all of the social pulls at that age, and so that was the way that I could get into town. And it was, to be honest, I was still playing hockey. It was the way I could get to hockey matches and so on. And when I did, in a sense, return to that competitive drive and return to that racing spirit, it meant that the bike was still there. So I think this is only good news for the wider environment and for sport to have everyone on a bike.
And for the women's tour at elite level, competition at elite level has certainly improved, hasn't it? And we've got some really, really great young riders coming through for Scotland, haven't we?
Yeah, 100%. There's a strength and depth of the British squad that's represented by a Scottish contingent. I think the highlight of the Scottish cycling press at the moment is Anna Shackley, who's just signed for Boels Dolmans, a professional World Tour team. So she's only 19 years old, maybe just turned 20, but she's secured a professional contract in a style that hasn't really been, I don't think that's something that's been replicated by any other Scottish rider her age, really. It's phenomenal, and it's very exciting to see where a rider like she is going to go, and also where the Scottish team as a whole can continue with cycling brilliance.
This could make Tokyo very, very interesting next year in terms of Team GB as well. What are the hopes, having won that gold in Rio, that gold medal? Is the pressure on in terms of you've been there and done it, and everybody sets you guys out as a target?
Okay, so I guess two answers. If we look through the Scottish frame again, I think the delay of the Olympics has maybe disproportionately benefited that handful of Scottish athletes. So one that stands out is Jack Carlin, who was a young sprinter who certainly is one of the athletes I've heard saying, I'm getting better season on season. I'm going to be only better again next summer. The kind of confidence that comes from that. I guess whether it does mean that a rider like Anna Shackley we can see as an option. Nia Evans is another name who's slightly older than them, but later into the sport, and so still progressing at a rapid rate. So these are just three examples of talent that's coming to a head, and that might even benefit from the delay. In terms of what we have to defend and the success that not just the women's endurance team, but the Great Britain cycling team as a whole has had in the velodrome since 2008, really was the first completely dominant year. 2004 still fantastic when we look at, for example, Chris Hoy's achievements. So I'm only a small part of that history, and in some senses it's a blessing that I can't be too consumed in the fear of carrying on this huge this huge dominance. It's hard to say with humility, really, when there's so much pride attached to it. But all we can do is kind of aspire to greatness as every other nation is doing, and hope to carry it on for one more games, and then maybe one more games again, and so forth.
And you're very keen on the legacy, I know that, and getting young women out there, getting young girls out there to do whatever sport, but cycling obviously is your thing. And these medals matter and count towards all of that, don't they? It's exposure.
Yeah, and I think what Scottish women in sport do broadly, and what they do with this award as well, is to try and give a platform to that and attention to the opportunities that are out there. It really is fantastic that women's sport can continue to grow and grow and grow in its own entity beyond just the sporting world. Sorry about the background noise there. It does. It fills me with a lot of enthusiasm, I suppose, when I get these contacts from whether it's youth cycling clubs or even some school PE groups, and you get to hear about the ventures that are available to whoever.
And so the story continues. We look forward to watching you over the next 18 months or so. Katie, thank you very much indeed for joining us, and good luck with the training and everything else that follows on from that.
Oh, thank you very much for having me.